Let's talk about the Battlefield 2042 player count. Right now we're seeing a bit of a spike in players because of the new update that has brought around 400 fixes, which should have already been in the game, but nevertheless it's brought another 2,000 players back to it, as we see from the 24-hour peak of 3,653. That's all well and good, but we were talking about just a week ago, just within this month, the numbers dropping to under 1,000. The numbers have been barely over 1,000 for a while. It did drop under 1,000 one time. These are not numbers for a Battlefield game. So on the 14th of April, we got to 935 players as their all-time peak. 952 players, 876. These numbers are ridiculously low for a Battlefield game. That if I quickly switch over, a game that got released on Steam years after, Battlefield 5, on the first week it came out, it got 2,180. And it was actually growing, so 8,860. It was growing after launch on Steam. It kept going up. So if you compare it to Battlefield 2042, if we go to all time, it's only been going down. And this is a brand new release. This is the new game. This was meant to be the bastion for Battlefield and the future of their hero shooters and everything, which sounds great. Starting at 100,590 players, which is a decent number. But even Halo and stuff, that got up to 160,000, and Battlefield's meant to be a juggernaut of a title. But we're just seeing this slow gradual turn to the last few people playing. It's just been slowly going down, going from the likes of 47,000 in December the 1st to 2,195 in April the 1st, and we've just been seeing more of a decline. We did get the update though, so the players have actually grown, which is such an accomplishment because they've almost tripled their player count. If you look in the grand scheme of things, it's really shite though. It is not a solid number to have. They shouldn't be proud of that. Not the numbers they were hoping for. And it's already starting to drop again. When the update first came out, which we can assume is around the 19th of April, the numbers dropped up to 3,000, and then it's already been slowly declining with spikes, but now it's going back down. But this is in a very short time period, so you'll see the players come back the 19th, and then I'll say give it a week or two, and then it'll come back down to scraping 1,000. If you play and live in a more isolated country, then finding a game is nearly impossible. So for me, I live in Australia and we don't get 2,000 players playing concurrently. It's more like 20. I can't find a full game to play. It's impossible. No hazard zone, no all-out warfare, and not even portal mode. Most of the time I have to play with bots. In portal mode, that's the only one I can really do it in. As with everything, if you live in more urbanly dense countries, then you're probably going to find games easier and get access to that 2,000 players. Even though when looking at that, say you had all 2,600 people with you, if we quickly use our big maths brains and just divide it by 128, they got 20 games running concurrently. If that's everyone in the same all-out warfare mode, say Conquest, you got 20 Conquest games running right now. 20. That is embarrassing. Now, if we compare it to when Battlefield 2042 first came out, if we divide that by 128 players, 100,000, 785 games. You have gone from 785 games concurrently running to 20 games. I don't even think it's worth having the servers up. They may as well just bring peer-to-peer connection. They're probably losing money on servers now. It's embarrassing, and they can't do microtransactions because of how poor the reception for the game is and how everyone hates it. I know they had big plans for microtransactions. We already saw some leaked skins that were coming out. They were waiting for it. That is just such a massive drop, and it's really embarrassing to see from a franchise that's meant to be massive. We can look at the average players and the peak players. We're going from 50,000 to 1.8k in what, 4 months, 5 months? It's getting ridiculous. We're already on 5 months since the game's launch and we haven't even got an update on a live service title. And when I mean update, I don't mean bug fixes. I don't mean patches. I mean new maps, new content, and whatever. Because the bug fixes should have already been fixed. Should have already been done before the game came out. Or they should be very minimal. These are not minimal changes. 400 changes is not minimal. So, congratulations for getting up, tripling your player count, Battlefield 2042. If we look at the other Battlefield titles on Steam, when we see they launched, they re-released on Steam a couple years late, and we can see them slowly growing. So doing the opposite of what Battlefield disappointed, which is understandable because they just launched and it was a game that all those games kind of building on the hype of Battlefield 2042 when it was getting released. You can see much higher drops when people are trying to get that Battlefield itch done, and right before Battlefield starts coming out, when they do all their announcements, the player counts they go massive because they are excited to play a Battlefield game and they want to get ready for that. Battlefield 5 is doing crazy numbers for a game that at that point, by August 30th, the game's almost been out for 3 years and it's doing 90k. You compare that to Battlefield, 5 months, 2,000. It's ridiculous. Now if we go straight to the Battlefield 2042 launch, 100,590 players, which is a solid. And all the other games, they took a hit because of the hype for Battlefield 2042. They all dropped slowly. We're going from 12,000, 25,000, 86,000 to 44, 11, 4,000. You know, Battlefield 1 has a pretty consistent player base. It doesn't really drop too far. As Battlefield 2042 starts dropping, the other games stay pretty consistent. Like, they do drop quite a bit, but Battlefield 4 has been around for almost 10 years and it's getting solid numbers. Battlefield 1, we're still on 6 years, and Battlefield 5, it's on its 3rd year. These games did not natively come out on Steam. Seeing the drops, and look at that. It's already Battlefield 2042 within 2 months has dropped below Battlefield 5, 3 years old. You're more likely to find a Battlefield 5 game than you are a Battlefield 1 2042 game. I'm sorry guys, I keep choking on my words right now. Let's go back and look at how many games you can find on Battlefield 5, and they only have 64 players. That you can find 414 games. Now if we want to apply same standards to make it a bit more equal, if we compare it, say 128 players, you're still getting 207 games, which is plus an extra 0 to Battlefield 2042 at the moment. So it's dropped below Battlefield 5. Now if we go further, it's gone from 17k to 7k, 8k in 3 weeks. And now, Battlefield 1 is beating it. So let's try this new system again. Battlefield 1, if it's going by its 64 players, you can find 140 games. And if it's going by its 128 players, you can find 70 games. Compared to 61 games at that time. So Battlefield 1 was still much bigger by 9 games, but it's still a bigger game. Battlefield 5 starts going up again when Battlefield 2042 drops, as it's the newest title in the series. As we can see, it's growing and growing. The other games stay pretty stagnant. They don't drop, they don't go up or anything. But we keep going to a point, and look at that, now we can finally say that Battlefield 4 in February has a bigger player base than Battlefield 2042. And finally, we'll do our last little bit of mathematics for us today. Now, if we have 2,845 players on 64 player teams, servers will get 44 games. If we compare it to Battlefield 2042, then they will only get, in their 128 lobbies, 20. We're still getting 22 games in a Battlefield 4, so you're more likely to find a Battlefield 4 game that's almost 10 years old than a Battlefield 2042 game. Then Battlefield 5 goes on this massive hike as Battlefield 2042 drops, and then it slowly all drops. Everything starts to drop again. Battlefield 1 gets a little bit of revival, and then we get to this point that we are now. It only goes up to the 18th, but it does miss out on that massive growth, but we're still seeing solid numbers for all the games. Now, I feel like the hype for a Battlefield title is kind of dead now. If we saw that 86k at the start, and then Battlefield 5 kicked 25,000 players, then going from 25,000 to 19,000, we can already see that there's less and less people interested in Battlefield anymore. But if we still see it's a lot bigger than Battlefield 2042. If you want to find a Battlefield game, you want the Battlefield itch, Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 1 are your best options, not the brand new release game. I hope this video helped just to show how embarrassing Battlefield 2042's player count is and compare it to the other games. So if you're looking for a Battlefield itch, you found it, go play Battlefield 5 or Battlefield 1. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.